The call for whistleblower protection has been going on for many years, and the lack of movement has resulted in the cost of jobs, families, and even lives. Activists are urgently calling for clear timelines when the bill will be implemented. Human rights advocate and active citizens movement Koogen Pillay weighs in. A very good morning to you, Mr. Pillay, and thank you so much for your time. Why is whistleblower protection so critical for South Africa, especially in the fight against crime?
So good morning, Katlego, and thank you for the opportunity, and good morning to your viewers as well. Whistleblower protection is important. It's the very fundamental basis of what we call Batopela, as alluded to in the Constitution. And it gives voice to the people to hold leaders to account, to ensure that the services, the human rights services, as enshrined in the Constitution, are delivered, and we've seen failure in that area. And that is why whistleblowing protection is so important. More recently, we've also seen people that speak out against abuses get various forms of abuse leveled against them, be it in the workplace, losing their jobs, livelihoods, and in some cases assassinated, as you've seen previously with Babita Deokaran and witnesses from the Madlanga Commission. If they've been implicated, they've been taken out before they can inform the Commission on what is happening. So whistleblowing protection is also a critical strategy in fighting corruption. And if you recall at President Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address, he informed that the #1 threat facing the country is organized crime, and very close to that is corruption, and the impact of corruption on addressing all these social ills.
So speaking of that address of the President at SON, I mean, he spoke about tabling that whistleblower protection bill. What's your assessment specifically of government's commitment and the progress that they have done so far on this issue?
I must say I was quite impressed with his presentation at SONA. To some extent, it was different from previously, but there were many similarities. And what concerns me, though, is the elephant in the room, which is the lack of implementation, the lack of accountability, and the lack of justice for those who are speaking out against corruption. But why I'm encouraged by the SONA is we are seeing immediate signs of implementation. This morning's newspaper was a breath of fresh air, where the Minister of Justice is now taking the bull by the horn, so to say. She's promised financial support, a whole lot of protective measures for whistleblowers who come out. So that's very encouraging. And she also is talking about a zero-tolerance approach, which the President mentioned in his State of the Nation address. So I'm very encouraged by that. And as the active citizen movement, we are also there to hold our hands in this process, because we've been down this path for some time now. Some 5 years ago, in 2021, we tabled a very detailed submission to the Zondo Commission on a whole range of whistleblowing protective measures. Sadly, 2 weeks after we tabled it, Babita was assassinated in the month of Women's Month. And we've subsequently shared this with the Presidency, with the Department of Justice. The Minister wasn't there then, and then more recently Parliament. So we are very encouraged by what we're seeing in this morning's newspaper. The SONA was last week, and we hope to engage with her to try and see how we can accelerate this. I've listened to Ben Taron, and he said it could be a time-consuming process. But we've already invested the time in the last couple of years. We've done some comparative studies. The active citizen movement has also been part of the NACAC process, where they've given input. So even if some of these measures will take some time, the active citizen movement has also put recommendations on interim measures. So the interim measures are there to prevent assassinations, to provide immediate relief for whistleblowers who want to come forward with such critical things. We've seen the Ekurhuleni auditor was taken out for revealing high-level corruption. I mentioned Babita's case previously.
Yes.
And I think it's possible that we can have interim measures. During the World Cup in 2010, we mustn't forget we had justice dispensed within 24 hours. So we can achieve this, and the Minister can rest assured on the support from the active citizen movement. We are working with many other civil society organizations as a collaborative effort so that we make sure implementation happens this time. And we don't wait for next year's SONA to hear on what happened and what didn't happen. These are, as the President said, it's holding back our democracy, it's holding back development, it's a huge impediment to economic development, and hence we have such a high unemployment, and those lovely rights in the Bill of Rights are not being realized because of that.
Because of the lack of implementation. I mean, and you speak of the interim measures that would then take place while we wait for the bill to be passed through. Like you said, Mr. Theron said it could only possibly come in about 2027. How important is it for us to start fast-tracking, specifically now? You say we've invested the time, we might as well wait a year or two. But what we are seeing, especially from what's coming out of the Madlanga Commission and the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee with regards to the extent of the possible rot in many of these institutions?
We must also take lessons from history. We've had the COVID crisis. There were important recommendations we've not implemented from there. We've had the Zondo Commission. We've had important lessons we've not implemented. The Madlanga Commission is at a different level. What certainly the country is witnessing is we've learned from that. The Madlanga Commission appears to be more on point, but we're still losing high-profile witnesses who are coming out and testifying. The parliamentary ad hoc process for that matter as well. So I think the collaborative effort that I'm talking about, as in the ACM, Active Citizen Movement, working with other civil society organizations, working with government, working with the minister, working with business for that matter. We've also reached out to business, and they are very keen on working with us to take this forward because the expertise is there. Civil society has the expertise. They are short on the resourcing. Government has the resourcing. Business has the resourcing. So how do we work together to realize these interim measures? And the interim measures are to ensure that whistleblowers stay in their jobs, they get support so that they can fight these cases like you have the crooks, be it on government side, private sector side, leaders that are corrupting and engaging in criminal conduct. So they have the same access to resources. And the encouraging part is the minister has put this in the paper this morning. So that's very encouraging to hear. She's also responsible for the NPA, as you know. And Advocate Motibi from the SIU has got a good track record. He's moved across to the NPA. So we see this team under the Minister of Justice, under Advocate Motibi, working with partners like ourselves from civil society, that we can only make these promises, these wish lists, this SONA ambitions a reality.
And I mean, it's quite important for us to look at how the support and the comprehensive support that you're speaking about is going to be rolled out, especially when we have many whistleblowers that are now in exile, meaning they have moved away from family, they've moved away from jobs. And in the President's SONA, he mentioned that support being financial, being legal, as well as psychosocial support for many of those whistleblowers. Do you think this encourages more potential whistleblowers to come forth as well?
Definitely. I think with the ACM working with the minister, it's how do we give life to this process so that whistleblowers feel empowered to come forward. The Witness Protection Act, while it's important, many citizens are reluctant to engage in it because it means taking on a new identity, moving away from the families, whereas that burden should be placed on the criminals. And I think, so this process will open up, but it's equally important is our engagement with the minister. Next to the organized crime and corruption crisis that the President spoke about, he spoke about the water crisis.
Yes.
And if we thought the power crisis, the energy crisis was bad previously, the water crisis is something else. And as much as he's condensed the Madlanga Commission to a small, and he's now going to be sitting on the water committee, we can't have a 3 to 6 month committee on the water. Again, civil society, citizens play an important role. There are many initiatives that are going around at the moment within civil society, but working with government, working with the private sector, and I think we can handle this elephant in the room, which is corruption, which is a demon, and basically preventing those aspirations in the Constitution, as well as in the policy, national development, from being realized.
As we close off, what would you say is the low-hanging fruit for us to see tangible action, particularly when it comes to whistleblower protection?
I think the first part is an urgent engagement with the Minister following an article this morning, because that follows from the SONA, so that we as a collective of civil society and stakeholders capacitate the Minister to realize this, so the implementation starts happening. The accountability is also critical in terms of going back to what the President spoke about, as in the constitutional foundational values and principles. And people that we have in the system must be capable to do it. And that must be a patriotic commitment to the values. We can't have people that are criminals in the system. So in terms of immediate measures for whistleblowing is to ensure that the environment is safe for whistleblowers to come forward. It's to ensure that the environment is protected by assurances from the Minister, as she is including in the press this morning, that they would have immediate access to resourcing. So all this is nice. We've got to make it happen. And I think that's where we as the active citizen movement, working with other civil society players, as well as government and business, come together.
It certainly is very important for civil society to also step in and assist government. I mean, that's what active citizenry should be about. Thank you so much for your time.